I've sent over 70,000 personalized and automated outreach, and I have booked a ton of appointments with both. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I did that and exactly between automated and personalized outreach, which one is better. And by knowing which one is better, you can make the most money for your business, okay? Now, the most important thing when it comes to anything, whether you're trying to figure out what is better between two different things, you need to look at what defines better, right? What is the standard at which you are optimizing for? Because depending on what you want to get out of the system, what is better is going to differ, okay? So there are three different ways that you can optimize for. There are three different things you can optimize for. I'm going to explain each of them. One of them isn't really true, but people believe it to be true, which is why a lot of the times people get this wrong and then don't get the amount of clients that they need to get in order to grow the business, okay? So there's three things that you can optimize for, but really only two, okay? The two real ones is the amount of money that you're making per the amount of leads that you're sending to, right? So you want to get the most, if you send 100 messages, you want to get the most people to say yes inside of those 100 messages, okay? That's the first thing that you can optimize for. The second thing you can optimize for is if you put this amount of dollars into the campaign, you want to get the most dollars out, right? Which is the ROI that you're getting from the system. This is 99% of the time what you want to optimize for. However, in some specific cases, this is what you want to optimize for. And the third one that a lot of people believe is something that you can optimize for, which is a lie, is dollars per time, okay? And the reason why you can't optimize for dollars per time is because time and money are the exact same thing, okay? So what I mean by that is when a lot of people come to me, they say, personalized outreach is great because I can do it for free. But the truth is that your time is worth money. So when you spend 10 hours a day doing personalized outreach, right? And I'll jump into what's better between these. And there's different situations because it's not all black and white. Sometimes personalized is better. Sometimes automated is better. But when you say you're doing 10 hours of outreach, even like 1 hour of outreach, right? Per day, it's not free, right? Whatever time you're spending doing this is at least the amount of the time that a minimum wage job is worth, right? So let's say you have no skills, you're fresh out of high school, you work at a McDonald's, you'll get paid $10 an hour, right? Depending on your state, depending on where you live, that's going to differ, right? So $10 an hour is at least what it's costing you to send. $10 is at least what it's costing you to send an hour of personalized outreach, okay? So it does cost money, just in the form of opportunity cost rather than actual hard cash out of your bank account, right? But you need to see it that way because when you try and scale, right, and when you actually need to replace someone in order to be able to increase the amount of like outreach that you're doing, you're going to need to pay them, obviously, right? And you could buy time with money, and the amount of time that you're spending on something is worth money to someone else, right? And when you are outsourcing someone, right, or when you're outsourcing something, a lot of the times what I recommend and what I did when I get started, I'm getting a little off track here, is I worked at a minimum wage job because I could pay a VA to do the tasks for cheaper than I was getting paid at my job. So I was able to make money and get like do the same things that I would normally do, just have someone else do it for a cheaper price than I was getting paid, right? So that's one thing you can do. Now, these are the only two things that you can optimize for, other than that, which doesn't really exist, okay? So the dollars per dollar, or the ROI, or the dollars per lead. Now, 99% of the time you optimize for this, right? The reason why is because you need to operate out of maximizing the most limited resource, okay? So what I mean by that is you obviously have a limit on how much money you have in your bank account, okay? You have a limit on how much you can spend on something, meaning that you need to make the absolute most out of the money that you're spending, okay? However, a lot of the times you are not limited by the amount of leads you have, right? The only time where you ever want to optimize for the actual leads that you are sending to is if the amount of leads in your market is very, very limited. So for example, I have a client who works with like Forex brokerage softwares, okay? And I think there's like less than 2,000 of those in the entire world, okay? That is one situation where it makes sense to do personalized outreach because you were getting the most amount of money per lead that you were sending messages to. That's the benefit of personalized outreach, right? If you send 100 personalized outreach and you send 100 automated outreach, you are going to get better results from the 100 personalized outreach, right? The benefit of automated outreach is it allows you to send more, right? It allows you to do way more. So instead of sending 15 DMs a day, you can send 1,000 a day, right? And that's going to allow you to get way more leverage, even if your conversion rate on the leads is slightly worse, which is going to allow you to generally have a higher ROI when you're trying to scale the thing, okay? So I've done all the math. I'm gonna show you exactly what this looks like. Again, this only makes sense, right, in most cases where you have more than 5,000 people in your niche. If you have less than that, then you might want to consider optimizing for this just because you want to get the most value out of every single person in your market. But again, odds are that's not you. Odds are you want to be able, you're limited by money, you're not limited by the amount of leads inside of your market, okay? If you don't know how to get leads, then that's a problem of not getting leads, right? It's not a problem of not having enough leads inside of your market, okay? So here's the math in terms of whether you should be using automated versus personalized outreach, okay? And I'm being very pessimistic on the automated side of things just to make this super black and white for you, okay? So realistically, right, if you're doing personalized outreach, again, I know some people who will spend 1 hour to send one message, but we'll say 5 DMs per hour. That's including the scraping, that's including the writing the message, that's including sending the message, that's including everything that's involved in sending one DM, okay? So you can probably send, again, this is being optimistic on the personalized side of things, about 5 DMs per hour. This applies to emails, right? It applies to not as much cold calls, right? But this will apply to DMs, this will apply to emails. I'm just using DMs for this example, okay? So that means, right, and we discussed 1 hour is worth at least $10, unless you're in a third world country, that might be slightly different, obviously, and then you just adjust for that, okay? So if you're doing 3 hours per day, right, it means you're sending 15 DMs per day, and that's costing you $900 per month of your time, okay? So you're spending $900 per month, and you're able to send 450 DMs per month, okay? You have to look at it this way, because your time is worth money, okay? Because you can get a job, right? Like, most likely. Okay. Now, automated outreach. You can send 100 DMs per day pretty easily with most softwares. Softwares are typically going to cost $100 per month if you're sending at this volume. Again, this fluctuates depending on the software, depending on the platform that you're sending on. Okay. This is cheaper for some. It's more expensive for others. I know, for example, with Twitter, you can send like 400 DMs a day for $100 a month. So you can even get a lot more out of this depending on the platform that you're on. Okay. It takes about 30 minutes a day to actually manage, okay? The reason why I have a green underline under this and a red underline under this is because when you're doing personalized outreach, it's a lot more difficult to outsource, right? Meaning it's very hard to train a VA to do personalized outreach for you, right? You can get a setter to do it, but it's very hard to get like a lower skilled person to do this, right? You can do it. It is possible. Like my VA works really, really well, and I could probably teach him at this point after he's been working with me for about 8 months now. But it's very difficult to try and teach someone who's like super new to this to be able to do this, to be able to do personalized outreach, which is why this is worth at least $10 an hour. And I've accounted $3 an hour for this because you can teach a VA to do this. Okay, this is just general admin, uploading leads to the software, and sending basic replies to people who are interested, right? Very outsourceable for $3 an hour. I've done it, and I've helped tons of other clients do that, okay? Meaning the total cost of the system is $145 per month, and you're able to send 3,000 DMs per month instead of 450, right? So it's a lot cheaper. You can send a lot more. Now, the good thing about personalized is obviously you're going to have a way higher booking rate, okay? So we're being optimistic here about a 4% booking rate, right? Meaning about 1 in every 25 people you send a message to are going to schedule a call, right? With this math, 4% of 450 is 18 appointments per month. And then if you do the math on that, again, you're spending $900 a month to book 18 calls. That's $50 per appointment, which is still pretty good, right? But let's look at the other side. If you have a 1% APR on automated outreach, which is typically about average, you get 30 appointments per month, right? If you do the math on this, 1% times 3,000. Now you are paying $145 for 30 appointments, which is $5 per appointment, okay? Which is 10 times better than this, right? Because you were getting 10 times the amount of appointments. That means 10 times the amount of dollars per dollars that you spend, okay? So 10x higher ROI on the automated outreach versus the personalized outreach. And the next step of the process, right, and this is very, very important that most people don't see and don't see into the future for, is you need to scale a team to be able to do this, right? Whereas on this side of things, you just need to upgrade your plan on the software, right? And sometimes you don't even need to do that, right? So this is very, very, very easy to scale. And if any of you have tried to scale a setting team, it's a lot harder than just buying more credits on software, right? So this is very, very, very simple to scale, right? So you could easily, right, triple the amount of DMs. You could send 300 DMs a day here, right? Get to the point where you're paying $450 a month, right? You're sending out 9,000 DMs a month. Then you're getting 90 appointments per month, still paying $5 per appointment, and you just triple the amount of calls you're getting by a flick of a switch, right? Whereas here, you would have to hire a person, train them, hire another person, also train them, and it becomes this whole mess of people that you need to manage, right? So this is way easier to scale than this, right? Which means that the only reason why you want to do this is because, again, you're optimizing for the amount of dollars you're making from the amount of leads that you're sending to. So if you'd like help building out a system that can actually do these easily, where you can pay $5 per appointment, you can feel free to click the first link in the description. If not, that's fine, and I will see you inside of the next video.